So, Randy Kamp from Mission Maple Ridge, is that correct?
Yeah, Pitt Meadows Maple Ridge Mission is the riding on the north side of the Fraser River.
So, you're Mr. Consistency. You've been through the part of the fisheries portfolios for quite a while now.
Yeah, I was elected in 2004 and became the Pacific Fisheries critic while we were in opposition, and then in 2006 became the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister, and I've kept that position through three ministers now.
So, what from being in opposition to now in the government, what things have you seen that have changed now that you have a majority and are able to move things forward?
Well, I think there's always a shift when you're in opposition. Everything the government does is wrong, and everything you plan to do is right. But when you get into government, you see the world is a little more complicated than that. And I don't know that our approach has changed too much, going from a minority to a majority government. But we've got our agenda, both in the fisheries area and in others, the things that we think Canadians want to see, and we're moving forward and trying to accomplish those.
So, where do you think the mandate of DFO is now? Because there's a trade element of DFO for the fish farms, and there's this protection, conservation, and there's a kind of a delicate balance there. And there's a lot of controversy with the fish farmers and that kind of thing.
Well, DFO has a broader mandate than even that, of course, because we have the Coast Guard within us. So safe and secure waterways is part of what we do, and sustainable fisheries. And of course, we believe that you can have sustainable and environmentally responsible fisheries, both in the wild fisheries and in aquaculture operations. But of course, our priority, as it has been historically, are wild capture fisheries and having good fish habitat that sustains those.
There's a recent announcement to land-based farming. Can you talk a bit about that?
We announced funding, government funding for a project that's being put together by the Namgis First Nation around Port McNeill, and it's going to be one of the first commercial size operations using a recirculation technology that's on land. Every aquaculture operation has some kind of land-based operation where they grow the fish to a small size, then they put them in the water. This will be one of the first throughout North America that will grow them out on land, and it's important to see if that's a good viable technology that will work.
Do you know what species that'll be?
They're going to be growing Atlantic salmon there.
There's some concern about genetically modified fish and these kind of techno fish. Can you talk a bit about where DFO is on that, because it's very concerning for a lot of people?
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be probably the primary have primary responsibility for that. That would probably fall under CFIA. There are no genetically modified fish in Canada at this point, and if there ever were, they would go through a very rigorous testing process. So personally, I don't know if I see that in the future or not, but there aren't currently.
So do you prefer wild fish or farm fish?
They're quite different. I've heard some people say that the farm fish are more, you always know what you're going to get, and because of the way that they're farmed, they are softer. Some people like that, and some people don't. So, I grew up with wild Pacific salmon, so that's probably my preference.
Cool. And so the Cohen Commission ends January or June next year. So that was the expected date of his report. Do you expect that's still going to be the time of the report? And of the recommendations, is there a commitment to make them all happen, or what would be the reasons why certain recommendations would be implemented versus others?
There's always already been one extension, and that the commission has had, and we are expecting the report in June of this year, by the end of June of this year. And our commitment, of course, is with all these judicial inquiries and other comprehensive reports to take a careful look at the recommendations before, and that's the commitment we'll make. And until we see them, it's difficult to know what other commitments we can make. and that's what we'll be doing.
Great. Thanks very much.
Okay.
All right.